Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Random Fandom. I am your host, RavenWood, and welcome back to RavenWood Reads, where I read a story, or at least I try to continue reading the story, uh, "The Will of the Mill," or well, this is the cover of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and other stories, um, by Robert Louis Stevenson. But the story that's in this book is called Will the Mill. And so last time we finished not the mini chapter, the chapter that was the, we finished the chapter that was what was it called? The Plane and the Stars. And for this chapter, we'll be focused on the the Parsons Majory. Um, and I'm gonna do is have the stream kind of just go on by itself for a moment, and because I got to do one last thing real quick before we continue. Give people, I guess, to give would coincidentally give people a chance to kind of hop in during this time. Um, this is going to be about roughly around 30 minutes long. So yeah, 30, 40 minutes long, not an hour long. Probably I might do an hour long depending on the feel of things. Um, if the stream crashes, don't worry, I know how to fix it. I now know how to so there won't be any more 12, 15-minute tiny streams that just exist, and then me giving up, and then me going to bed and waking up in the morning and try to do a morning stream, or coming back 1 week later or whatever, or continuing in 2 days later or whatever, or something in between, right? Or me trying to upload yet another stream later in the evening, and then or trying once or two times or whatever. No, this time I actually know how to fix it in a way. So yeah, now that we're at roughly past the 2 minute mark, I will go quickly do something real quick. I need to get like another layer. I guess it's a little chilly in here because it's above the garage. But anyways, see ya. I'll be right back. And I'm back. Hey, you know that meme of like, oh, hey, you need to let it go, whatever. It's like, bro, just let it go. It's falling apart or whatever. This jacket is this not jacket, this hoodie is that thing that I need to let go because I keep forgetting that I have it, and right now it's just kind of it's just taking up space at the coat hanger, and for some reason I just don't just like put it into the Goodwill pile or whatever. It's stupid. antivirus, whatever thing. Anyways, but yeah, this is actually convenient for using it for this type of stream and whatnot, or using it in this area, even though I don't wear it often. It's a nice little. It's also nostalgic too. Remember having it when I was a bit younger, 2 years, 4 years, a lot younger. It's surprisingly still fit. It's surprisingly still. I won't say fits me. It sort of fits me. Like the cuff is supposed to be. The cuff is not supposed to end here. It's supposed to end like a little bit here, ish, a little bit closer to the arm. Yeah, right here. The cuff is supposed to end like right here or whatever. I can't. Wish I could show you that better. Huh? The cuff is supposed to end like right about here ish. You know, I have long arms, so like there's not something that's just perfect. So anyway, it sort of ends there, but actually just it ends like right back here, so it's fine. It was just a little hoodie. Whew. For people buy hoodies, but never like put on the actual hood. So yeah, there we go. There's my hoodie. Oh, whatever. I'll fix it later. Ugh. So, okay, I keep forgetting that the camera's there. Okay, I got myself a little bit of hot cocoa. Oh, that is much better than whatever I got at the Starbucks. Oh, like, okay, they can make some great coffees, right? And lattes and cappuccinos. Oh boy, nog with, was it cappuccino? I think with frappe. No, yeah, cappuccino, whatever. Um, um, and I think the lattes, latte is what is the cold variant, while cappuccino is the hot variant. And so it was like, oh, hot or cold. So I was like, times. Oh, no data. On 1 second. Let me try to fix that. 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 Hello. Hello. Well, okay, it's excellent. I fixed it. Yay. Hello. Anyways, with the cappuccino, or latte, whatever. The mistake was probably ordering it hot or something. It did not settle well. Like the coffee and the eggnog. Like, I like eggnog, normal eggnog, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. This is a new thing, right? I try new things. I always try to strive to, like, well, here's a new thing. I'll try it. Some things are like, okay, obviously, don't try poison. Obviously, don't try drugs or whatever. Don't start smoking. I mean, hey, here's some cigarettes or whatever. Start. It's a new thing, right? No, I don't try new. I don't try everything that's new to me. All right. I try to do what sounds interesting, and obviously it's not gonna hurt me. Or am I? Well, anyways, like pineapple on pizza with ham, right? I try new things. I try something different, right? And yeah, that's so. Yeah, it just did not set well, and it didn't even taste good. It didn't taste like it didn't taste proper. It didn't taste sweet. Like eggnog has like a lot of people don't like eggnog. I don't know why, but anyways, there is a sweetness to like eggnog. So right, and it didn't taste sweet. It didn't taste. It just tasted bitter, like worse. How do you make something sweet? And if you mix it with coffee, and it just tastes bitter, it just tastes sour almost. It's just like for some reason I try to. For some reason I continue. For some reason I decided to continuously drink it, or to continue to drink it, even though it still gave me like a little. Because like I guess I like for some reason I will try to gaslight myself, and because like, well, I got this coffee, right, and I don't want to be like it. Well, I started drinking it outside of the like Starbucks. Maybe at first it tasted good, but then like after like a while, I was like, okay, this is not. It's not making me feel sick, but like, it's just not making. It's not just not. It's just not good. It could be better, but it's just getting worse and worse and worse, and not like it. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Anyways, as I was saying, um, head empty. My gosh. The eggnog. I should probably the next time we go to Barnes and Noble, we don't go there often. Oh, my neck. Ooh. No, I don't go there often, but like the next time I go to the Barnes and Nobles, and the next time Mom is generous to get me like a coffee or something at Starbucks, I'm gonna try egg, and if it's within season. Okay, if we're over there and still within the season, right? Um, right, or if they still have the stock, right? I'm gonna order the eggnog latte and try it to see if it's cold. Hey, sometimes like you try something new, but you try it incorrectly, right? There's the right way and there's the wrong way, right? And I feel like I took the wrong way first, the wrong variant of the thing. Anyways, moving on. We're here to read, and so here's the thing now. Now that I know to fix the streams whenever they crash, I can just reset it and continue. And so now I can actually have conversations. Yay, here we go. We're going back to conversations. Anyways, but now we're going to start reading. I don't know. I keep looking at my computer monitor over here, where I should be looking at the camera over there. I know I could technically put the camera onto the monitor and then move the monitor over here, or that like that could also be a thing. I could move the camera, I can move the laptop. Sorry, I can move the laptop over here towards where the camera is. But like that's every time I do that. Every time I do that, that's how like why I get like all the freezing and the connections like start going off from there. That's when the bad connections start happening. They'll get at this angle, right? When the laptop is on this angle, right? Just right. So no, okay, never mind. Sorry, I thought I saw something like in the frame or anyways. Continuing, the Parsons majority. After some years, the old people died, both in one winter, very carefully tended by their adopted son, and very quietly mourned when they were gone. That'd be so cool, or not cool. That'd be kind of funny. Not funny. That'd be kind of interesting, actually. That'd be interesting if like he meets his actual parents, and like he goes to if he ever goes to the city, which I'm sensing that that's the direction that the story is going to go. I haven't read the story before, I'm sensing that he will go to the city and he will meet his parents there or something. And like, oh, wait a second, you look like our baby boy or something like that. You look like our child or something. Wait, did his parents die early in the story? Hmm. With his adopted, it's just said with his adopted parents. It never said anything about like what happened to his parents or whatever. He's just adopted. Hey kid, you're adopted. Now climb a tree for me. Yay! And they climb a tree. I know there's no joke there. I just wanted to say that for some reason. I don't know. After some years, the old people died, both in one winter, very carefully tended by their adopted son, and very quietly mourned when they were gone. People who had heard of his roving fancies supposed he would hasten to sell the property and go down the river to push his fortunes, but there was never sign of any such an intention on the part of Will. On the contrary, he had the inn set on a better footing, and hired a couple of servants carry in to assist him in carrying it on. And there he settled down, a kind, talkative, inscrutable young man, 6 feet 3, 6 feet 3 in his stockings. Oh wow, I'm taller than him. I'm 6 feet 4, and a friendly voice. He soon began to rank in the district as a bit of an oddity. It was not much to be wondered at from the first, for he was always full of notions, and kept calling the plainest common sense in question. But what most raised the report upon him was the odd circumstance of his courtship with the parson's majority. Let me check the connection. We're excellent. The parson's majority was a the parson's majority was a lass about 19. When Will would be about 30, well enough looking, and much better educated than any other girl in that part of the country, as became her parentage. She held her head very high, and had already refused several offers of marriage with a grand air, which had got her hard names among the neighbors. Ooh, that's me probably. For all that she was a good girl, and one that would have made any man well contented. Okay. Oh, the parson's majority. Okay, sorry, majority. Okay. Will had never seen much of her, for although and parsonage were only 2 miles from his own door, he was never known to go there but on Sundays. It chanced, however, that the parsonage fell into disrepair and had to be dismantled, and the parson and his daughter took lodgings for a month or so, and not and a month or so on very much reduced terms at Will's Inn. Now, what with the inn and the mill and the old miller's savings, our friend was a man of substance, and besides that, he had a name for good temper and shrewdness, which make a capital portion in marriage. And so it was currently gossiped among their ill wishers that the parson and his daughter had not chosen their temporary lodging with their eyes shut. Will was about Will was about the last man in the world to be cajoled, cajoled or frightened into marriage. I will Google this up. I will Google it. Google is thy friend to the very end. Cajoled? Cajole. Persuade. Oh, to persuade. Hold on, 1 second. Lord, you were supposed to be my friend. Oh, come on, cajoled. Okay, let me just type it in. Persuade someone to do something by sustained or coaxing or flattery. Oh, I see. Persuasion through flattery, say? How? You will not. My ears. Cajoled. Oh, cajoled. How? Or frightened into marriage. You had only to look into his eyes, limpid, uh, limpid and still like pools of water, and yet with a sort of clear that seemed to come from within, and you could understand at once there at once here was one who knew his own mind and would stand to it immovably. Marjorie herself was no weakling by her looks, with strong, steady eyes and resolute and quiet bearing. It might be a question whether she was not Will's match in steadfastness after all, or which of them would rule the roast in marriage. But Marjorie had never given it a thought, and it accompanied her father with the most unshaken innocence and unconcern. The season was still so early that Will's customers were few and far in between, but the lilacs were already flowering, and the weather was so mild that the party took dinner under the trellis, with the noise of the river in the ears in the woods ringing about them with the songs of birds. Will soon began to take particular pleasure in these dinners. The parson was rather a dull companion, with a habit of dozing at the table, but nothing rude or cruel ever fell from his lips. And as for the parson's daughter, she suited her surroundings with the best grace imaginable, and whatever she said seemed so pat and pretty that Will could see the great idea of her talents. He could see her face as she leaned forward against the background of at the background of rising pine woods. Her eyes shone peacefully. The light lay around her hair like a kerchief. The light lay around her hair like a kerchief. Something that was hardly a smile rippled her pale cheeks, and Will could not contain himself from gazing on her in agreeable dismay. She looked, even in her quietest moments, so complete in herself, and so quick with life, down to her fingertips, and the very skirts of her dress, that the remainder of created things became no more than a blot by comparison. And if Will, excuse me, and if Will glanced away from her to her surroundings, the trees looked inanimate and senseless. The clouds hung in heaven like dead things, and even the mountains were disenchanted. The whole valley could not compare in looks with this one girl. Si, Papa Coco. Ooh, ooh. Will was always observant in the society of his fellow creatures, but his observation became almost painfully eager in the painfully eager in case of Marjorie. He listened to all she uttered, and read her eyes at the same time for the unspoken commentary. Many kind, simple, and sincere speeches found an echo in his heart. He became he became conscious of a soul beautiful poised upon itself, nothing doubting, nothing desiring, clothed in peace. It was not possible to separate her thoughts from her appearance. The turn of her wrist, the still sound of her voice, the light in her eyes, the lines of her body fell in tune with her grave and gentle words, like the accompaniment that sustains harmonizes the voice of the singer. Her influence was one thing, not to be divided or discussed, only to be felt with gratitude and joy. To Will, her presence recalled something of his childhood, and her the thought of her took its place in his mind beside that of dawn, of running water, and of the violets and lilacs. It is the property of things seen for the first time, or for the first time after long, like the flowers in spring, to reawaken in us the sharp edge of sense and that impression of strangeness, strangeness, which otherwise passes out of life with the coming of years. But but the sight of a loved face is what a man's character from the fountain upwards. One day, after dinner, Will took a stroll among the firs. A grave betude possessed him from top to toe, and he kept smiling to himself and the landscape as he went. The river ran between the stepping stones with a pretty wimple. Oh, that's a nice word, wimple. A bird sang loudly in the wood. The hilltops looked immeasurably high, and as he for some reason there's a comma after the end. But this is probably old commas, old because this is an old story. But anyways, and as he glanced at them from time to time, he seemed to contemplate his movements with a beneficent, but awful curiosity. His way took him to the eminence which overlooked the plain, and there he sat down upon a stone and fell into deep and pleasant thought. The plain lay above its cities and silver river. Everything was asleep, except a great eddy of birds, which kept rising and falling and going around and around. Oh, not going around, sorry, which falling and going round and round in the blue air. He repeated Marjorie's name aloud. Marjorie's name aloud, and the sound of it gratified his ear. He shut his eyes, and her image sprang up before him, quietly luminous and attended with good thoughts. The river might run forever, the birds fly high and higher till they touched the stars. Like stars. He saw it was empty bustle after all. For here, without stirring a foot, waited patiently in his own narrow valley. He also had attended the better sunlight. The next day, Will made a sort of declaration across the dinner table. With the parson was while the parson was filling his pipe. Miss Marjorie, he said, I never knew anyone I liked so well as you. I am mostly a cold, unkindly sort of man, not from want of heart, but out of strangeness in my way of thinking, and people seem far away from me. 'Tis as if there were a circle round me, which kept everyone out but you. I can hear the others talking and laughing, but you come quite close. Maybe this is disagreeable. To you, he asked. Marjorie made no answer. Marjorie made no answer. Speak up, girl, said the parson. Nay, now, returned Will. I won't press a parson. I feel tongue-tied myself, who I am not used to it. And she's a woman, and proud when all is said. But for my part, as far as I can understand, viewing, I don't know. Okay. Oh, hello. Okay, I'm gonna check this little device called my phone, because I believe that would help us out. I believe. Yes, I believe. Oh, I believe. Let's try to switch the account. La 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 la. Let's try to switch. La 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 la. Okay. We are live. We are good. We are good. We are live. Okay, so I will extend the time to 11:10. Yay. Let's check. Okay, it says it says it says excellent. Okay, good. We'll continue. Let's continue. That was a little hiccup. How's that, Parson? Asked Will. The girl must speak, replied the parson, laying down his pipe. Here's our neighbor who says he loves you, Madge. Do you love him, aye or no? I think I do, said Marjorie faintly. Well then, that's all that could be wished, Will cried hotly, and he took her hand across the table and held it a moment in both of his, and and held it in a moment in both of his with great satisfaction. For some reason, I just couldn't speak that. You must marry, observed the parson, replacing his pipe in his mouth. Is that the right thing to do, you think? Demanded Will. It is indispensable, said Parson. Very, very well, replied the wooer. 2 or 3 days passed away with great delight to Will, although a bystander might scarce have found it out. He continued to take his meals opposite Marjorie, and to talk with her and gaze upon her in her father's presence. But he made no attempt to see her alone, nor in any way changed his conduct towards her from what it had been since the beginning. Perhaps the girl was a little disappointed, and perhaps not unjustly. And yet, if it had been enough to be always in the thoughts of another person, and so pervade and alter his whole life, she might have been thoroughly contented. For she was never out of Will's mind for an instant. He sat over the stream and watched the dust of the eddy, and the poised fish, and the straining weeds. He wandered out alone into the purple even, with all the blackbirds piping around him in the wood. He rose early in the morning and saw the sky turn from gray to gold, and the light leap upon the hilltops. And all the while he kept wondering if he had ever seen such things before, or how it was that they should look so different now. The sound of his own mill wheel, or of the wind among the trees, confounded and charmed his heart. The most enchanting thoughts presented themselves unbidden in his mind. He was so happy that he could not sleep at night, and so restless that he could hardly sit still out of her company. And yet it seemed as if he avoided her rather than sought her out. One day, as he was coming home from a ramble, Will found Marjorie in the garden picking flowers, and as he came up with her, slackened his pace and continued walking by her side. You like flowers? Excuse me. You like I can't speak. You like flowers, he said. Indeed, I love them dearly, she replied. Do you? Why, no, he said, not so much. They are a very small affair when all is done. I can fancy people caring for them greatly, but not doing as how but not doing as you are just now. How? She asked, pausing and looking up at him. Plucking them, said he. They are a deal better off where they are, and looked and they are a deal better off where they are, and look a deal prettier if you go to that. I wish to have I wish to have them for my own, she answered, to carry them near my heart, and keep them in my room. They tempt me when they grow here. They seem to say, "Come and do something with us." But once I have cut them and put them by, the charm is laid, and I can look at them with quite an easy heart. You wish to possess them, replied Will, in order to think no more about them. It's a bit like killing the goose with the golden eggs. It's a bit like what I wished to do when I was a boy, because I had a fancy for looking out over the plain. I wished to go down there, where I couldn't look out over it any longer. Was not that fine reasoning? Dear, dear, if they only thought of it, all the world would do like me, and you would let your flowers alone, just as I stay up here in the mountains. Suddenly he broke off sharp. Suddenly he broke off sharp. By the Lord! He cried, and when she asked him what was wrong, he turned the question off and walked away into the house with rather a humorous expression of face. Oh, page 100. Yay. We're at page 100. Now we will do a little dance. This is the page 100 dance. This is the page 100 dance. This is the page 100 dance. And we do it all night. This is the page 100 dance. Page 100 dance. Okay. And let's take a sip. 11:05. Anyway, so the reason why I gasped, I will explain that later. He was silent at table, and after the night had fallen and the stars had come out overhead, he walked up and down for hours in the courtyard and garden with an uneven pace. There was still a light in the window of Marjorie's room. One little oblong patch of orange in a world of dark blue hills and silver starlight. Will's mind ran a great deal on the window, but his thoughts were not very lover-like. There she is in her room, he thought, and there are the stars overhead. A blessing upon both. Both were good influences in his life, but soothed and braced him in his profound contentment with the world. And what more should he desire with either? The fat young man and his counsels were so present in his mind that he threw back his head, putting his hands before his mouth, and shouted aloud to the populous heavens. Whether from the position of his head or the sudden strain of the exertion, he seemed to see a momentary shock among the stars, and a diffusion of frosty light pass from one to another along the sky. At the same instant, a corner of the blind was lifted and lowered again at once. He laughed aloud. Ho, ho! One and another, thought Will. The stars tremble and the blind goes up. Why, before heaven, what a great magician I must be! Now, if I were only a fool, should not I be in a pretty way? And he went off to bed, chuckling to himself. If I were only a fool. The next morning, pretty early, he saw her once more in the garden and sought her out. I have been thinking about getting live. Hello, I'm still here. Okay, let me pick up where I apparently left off in the stream. So I'm going to reread one part, and then we'll end it at 11:15. Okay? And then I'll explain what I wanted to explain. But first, before I do that, let me do. Excellent. Okay. Everything should be fine. We froze. But we're here. I've been thinking about getting married, he began abruptly. And after having turned it all over, I've made up my mind. It's not worthwhile. She turned upon him for a single moment, but his radiant, kindly appearance would, under the circumstances, have disconcerted an angel, and she looked down again upon the ground in silence. He could see her tremble. And then we will find out why she's trembling in the next stream. Now, what has awed to me during this chapter was that I would remember a scene from the God of War Ragnarok where Atreus would hand Angrboda a flower, right? He reversed. At first, I didn't like it. It's like, that was me. That was kind of just me. Like, I understand, like, oh yeah, life is precious and whatnot, but now you killed the flower, and like, you gotta still keep the flower somewhat alive, and if you put it into a pot or something. There are different ways to approach that. I don't know. But they didn't do it right. They didn't do that scene. The Will LaMille did that scene better, and it came. There's a lot of scenes in like the shows and whatnot, like, oh, I picked you a flower, here you go, and yeah, thank you, right? And then there's like, I think there was another movie or show or something that had done the thing where Angrboda's like, nah, your flower's dead now. Well, not your flower's dead now, but like, you may have done this thing, this nice gesture for me, but now you took it from the ground and now it's dead, right? Right? I personally don't like that because, like, come on. Come on. And what's like, it's like, yeah, he's trying to show you how much affectionate he is. Now, granted, the Will of the Mill did it better. Not because, like, oh, a man rejected her picking flowers or whatnot. But, she picked the flowers not to give, I think she did give it to him as a gift, I think. Oh, huh. Well, no, she didn't give him flowers at all. But however, the notion was that, like, oh, hey, do you like flowers? Wait, no, hold on, let me double check that. Hold on, the triple check that, because it could be that also. I'm still not. I may have glanced over it. Uh, But anyways, no, she didn't give him flowers. But however, regardless, she plucked the flowers and she's like, "Well, to keep them close to my heart," right? And I'm assuming Will the Mill probably not assuming. I'm not saying this is correct, but I'm assuming Will the Mill probably started that tradition. I'm not saying that it 100% did, but I'm saying probably people read this like, "Oh, girls like flowers. Oh, I'll pluck some flowers and give them to the girl." And probably a girl who also read Will of the Mill was like, "Oh, thank you. I like the flowers." Or maybe they see a girl plucking flowers, and maybe whatever. The whole plucking the flowers and giving the girl, like, "Hey, here's the flowers," affection, right? Um, and then the girl rejecting the flowers, like, "No, you killed it now, bozo," right? It's just, I don't know. You could have had, like, instead of her rejecting the flowers, well, like, at least have a conversation. Or so, I don't know. No, I mean, not a conversation. Like, could have just at least, like, have her, like, well, now you got to, like, put in the ball of dirt and put in, like, a pot or something. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, they have magic, so they could just magically sting the leaf together. So I don't know. Regardless, I feel like that reminded me of that scene of, like, Ingrid. I'm like, it got over. Like, that's like, come on, the man's trying. Um, not too torn up about it. Like, I like them. I like Ingrid and Atreus slash Loki. I like them together. Um, like Ingrid, and I could go into a whole different about Ingrid. Okay. Anyways, I could go on a whole entire different rant about Ingrid and whatnot and God of War and what I don't like about it and what I do like about it. Oh, boy. But anyways, it's interesting. I like this, but it's the man in this story doesn't like the idea of plucking the flowers. I like that's interesting. I like Will the Mill so far, but I also like how he's, like, so uncertain about, like, marriage, going to the city, not going to the city, going, staying with the mill, staying at the mill. It's interesting. It's a nice little story about a guy and his mill. It's my mill. But anyways, yeah, I'm closing it for the night. Um, we had, like, two moments of this stream shutting down. It happened roughly near the middle slash the end of the stream. That's good. We controlled how not control it. We can't control the data, but we can fight it. We can bring it, revive the data that needs to be uh, here. We need to have the data here. We need to have the stream to go on. All right, and the best way to fix the stream is by uh, reloading the page, refreshing it, and then just boop. So yeah, interesting. I like that. I like. Excuse me. I like where the story is going, but as always, we have got to go, and see y'all either in the next episode or in the next stream, or maybe both. Like, subscribe, hit the bell notification for more whatever. Type in the comments whether you like this story or not. The wheel of the mill, the wheel of the mill, mill of the wheel, the wheel of the wheel, the wheel of the mill. Also, type about what do you like about stars, eggnog, hot cocoa, cappuccino, lattes, mochas, frappes, whatever, all that other stuff. See y'all soon in the next one. Bye-bye.